down to is how he looks throwing the ball. I think that's where the disconnect has come because Trey Lance is very unpolished. Let's be honest. I know we like to talk about his ceiling and how good he can be, and those are all fun things. But right now, he is who he is, and that's brings it back to kind of, as I said, the rebuilding, but a Super Bowl contender. Kyle Shanahan is trying to do his best, making the Niners the best team they can be. And does it come at the expense of Trey Lance's development as a passer? Maybe. But if Kyle Shanahan sees Lance better as a runner, which I think obviously he did, he ran him quite a bit. And I don't have an issue with that, which if we want to get into that rabbit hole, we absolutely can.
Yeah.
But Shanahan was running him because I think there was this distrust in the passing game. And I don't know it. I am not the right person to go deep into that idea of what Shanahan's looking for in a passer because I think that's a very fluid thing. I don't think he's looking for a Jimmy Garoppolo, but I don't know if he's looking for a guy like Trey Lance necessarily.
I don't think anybody knows.
Nobody. I think Kyle Shanahan just wakes up some days and decides what he wants. And that's the fun thing, though. It's like, does he adapt Trey Lance to throw the ball more, or is he just such a stubborn head coach? He's like, no, my way is going to work. I'm going to show everybody my way is going to work. He's going to come back and he's going to keep running the ball. And that's kind of the fun thing with Shanahan is you don't know how he's going to adapt to this situation. But when Lance comes back, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit more of the same unless he really does take those strides in the passing game. And I mean, all these rumors, I don't want to dive into them, but these rumors about whether or not the locker room thinks he's the best quarterback, things like that. Like, I don't believe them, but it comes from someplace, right? Yeah. So, and I saw you arguing with somebody earlier today about whether the Niners are better or not with Garoppolo or Lance. And I think you were right in saying that's not really a fair question to ask because we don't know what Trey Lance looks like. We haven't
really seen it.
But this isn't my answer, right? If I wanted to be the hot take guy and say this is my answer, sure, but this isn't my answer. But I think, yes, they are. Just because you know what Jimmy Garoppolo is compared to what Trey Lance, you don't know what Trey Lance is. We could have had more week one performances out of him over the season. We could have had more performances against the Texans. You don't know. With Jimmy Garoppolo, at least you know what there is. So now the question is where does Shanahan go with Lance? Hopefully Lance develops a little bit better of a passer and we see him used more as a thrower. But I think it really comes down to what Trey Lance is in camp next season.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the whole reason why I said that we don't really know is because of how different the Texans game was from the Arizona game the last season, and then for the game the first game that we saw him in preseason to the last game that we saw him in preseason. And then the game in Chicago was, I mean, I don't know of many quarterbacks at all that would have thrived in those circumstances. And not to give him any excuses for the weather, but I mean, the reality is Jimmy Garoppolo didn't do well in the weather, in that kind of weather either. No. So it's just, I just look at it as, and then he gets hurt on the second drive of the game. So I just think that we are still completely clueless on what Trey Lance is.
Yes.
And I think that fact is even more frustrating for fans. And I'm sure for the coaching staff,
because now we have to wait another year to find out what he is. And the Niners are on a clock, right? There's the 5-year clock. They should be picking up his 5th year option, especially now not knowing what the first 2 years are. Now you essentially have 3 years to find out. It's not good. Like, obviously the Garoppolo backup situation, it ends up working out. It makes 2022 a salvageable season. And it makes 2022 manageable and all that. But the big concern with the Trey Lance injury now is what it looks like in the future, because now we still don't know. We're going to have to see all the Trey Lance season tweets in August when he's coming back, ramping back up, all that stuff. And the good news is broken ankle, 10 weeks. He's 100% going to be healthy next season. This isn't this isn't an ACL. This isn't an Achilles. This isn't anything like that where it's okay. Well, he might be ready. He might not. This is a pretty straightforward thing. So that's good. But I know everybody's excited for the ceiling of what Jimmy Garoppolo is. Or excuse me, the ceiling. And we know what's going on. We know what apologize. You see how I get to switch up? We talk about Garoppolo so much. I know everybody's excited to see what the ceiling of Trey Lance is. There we go. We got it correct.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we were necessarily ready for the process on it. And that's where this season, I think that's why you can say maybe the Niners will be better because of Garoppolo, because you know what it is. You're not going to have to go through the growing pains of what Trey Lance could or could not be. But now we get to find out in 2023, and we just have to put another year on this clock. So in terms of short term, the injury, like it sucks. The Niners lose their third pick at the draft in 2021, but they should be fine. 2023 and beyond, it creates more questions than really it answers.